Yo,
Addiction? Yes.
de nuevo activo, Hopper, a fuego.
Ese gringo.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dude. It's so bad. I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Hey, you being me, that's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. Because sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It must sound cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just I hate that I'm scared of him.
It would be awesome to, see being a great warrior. Maybe with a Mexican. I have to put the joke.
No. Hey,
Thank you
perfect.
for playing, man. I appreciate
Good
you.
timing.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
¡Huepa! Estamos activos. Oye, y en vivo. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Los tres locos amigos. And long live Boxing en Vivo podcast. Aquí, Manny, siempre en vivo. Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa. Hey.
Hopper.
Always. Remember this, guys. Always breaking it down like it is, like it should be. That's what separates us from the little babies. We are up and running, ladies and gentlemen. Two amazing podcasts. This is podcast 111. That's right. When I was coming in here to the studio, I forgot which one am I going to put out first.
It's almost like the temperature outside.
After a couple of drinks and all that stuff. I mean, hot as fuck. But I mean, we're here, guys. We're here to entertain you, talk about boxing, a lot of stuff going on, and very, very interesting topics we're gonna have today in both podcasts. But 111, man, it's very special. I wonder why.
Especial.
¿Por qué?
It definitely is. And we're here to bring it to you guys. We haven't been here as often as we like.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have been here too much, depending on what you like. Here we go. Bring that stiff jab in your mouth, in your boca.
Ooh. Pa.
Man. For them dirty girls. Hey, yo.
Cochinas,
here we go.
Sucias.
So this is a special that, I pride myself and my brothers as well of preparing ourselves for our shows. This is not one of those episodes.
Nope.
Hopper, please take us away on what we'll be discussing for this especial episode for our listeners and supporters, please.
All right, guys. I've been seeing a lot of, lately here, we've been seeing a lot of lists. People love lists. We've been seeing a lot of lists go around.
Right?
Mainly focused on the pound for pound. We've seen some unisex lists. We'll talk about that later.
Unisex.
We've seen some actual pound for pound lists. We've seen some guys not on there that probably deserve to be on there. We've seen some silly pound for pounds list. I mean, you guys make your guys' own opinion, and now it's time for us to be on the hot seat.
Yep.
See what we got. Throw our stuff out there and let people talk about it, either good or bad.
Criticize our kids.
But hey,
slap us.
It's our list, you know.
Right.
So we can't be wrong.
Well, I respect
only Manny.
List.
Only Manny, not us, not me and you.
But I guess I respect everyone's thought process when it comes to building a list like that, guys. And we've been thinking about it for a while, and it kind of changes week over week, especially when these fights are coming in. But whatever it is that you consider your top pound for pound criterias, that's up to you. So I respect anyone that has the courage to bring in that and have people to talk about it. And I think that's what we want to, come out here and give you our perspective and, hopefully entertain you. Whether it's nay or nah, I mean, who gives a shit?
All right.
That makes sense?
If he's your pound for pound fighter.
Right.
Hey.
I mean, Sean, what are your thoughts about the real whole fiasco of a pound for pound list? People look at it like, accomplishments. People feel like if you're a more famous or skill guy, you got to be there. I mean, all kinds of criteria.
And would you make it unisex?
And would you make it unisex? Yeah.
I personally wouldn't. I understand why people do, but it's not for me. We'll definitely touch on that later. I mean, I had a hard enough time doing a single sex. So it trying to incorporate something else I wasn't quite ready for. But, one thing that I definitely appreciate that, and you brought up a great point, Manny, that it's all about the perception and the perspective of the individual. Hopper is a historian of boxing and loves the sweet science. Yes, he does understand as far as like the original intent of the pound for pound list is what, brother? So kind of help us understand for those listening in, the casuals. What's the original intent of the pound for pound list? And then we'll talk about why we have our own list and what criteria we had.
Well, the original intent of the pound for pounds list is just basically because there's so many categories, so many boxing divisions in the sport of boxing, So the pound for pound list was established to see who the better fighter was, regardless of weight division. Just who has the best record, the best resume, the more belts. Has he gone undisputed? Is he undefeated? Just different criteria. And honestly, a lot of these are extremely subjective because you could have a list, and Manny's list can be completely different, and Gringo's list can be completely different. But at the end of the day, it's your pound for pound list. It's what you think. It's what you feel. So they're subjective.
Well, maybe you put a little bit more weight on accomplishments, and Gringo may put more weight when it comes to the skill boxer, and might be when you talk about who's the number one skill boxer in our current era, that may be different from your number one pound for pound.
Right.
And so
and it does, and that's where you nitpick lists, because if the guy is skilled, how do you know he's skilled depending on the people that he's faced, right? If he's not that accomplished, how can you really say that he's skilled?
Who has he fought?
Who has he fought?
Demonstrate those skills.
Demonstrate the skills. So, and that's where it just gets murky, and it's at the end of the day, it's your list. So,
do what you want to do, and that's a great point. And thank you for that clarification, brother. I think also too, there's a peer pressure. Oh, I gotta include this guy just cause. And I didn't do that. I didn't feel the need to have to include anybody, or felt guilty for not including somebody. I based it off the criteria that I said and just kind of move forward, and I really didn't. I mean, aside from kind of having a list in my mind, like we had looked at the ESPN list earlier, we shared in the chat, and I had some memories of, ironically, some of the unisex lists that we got called out earlier too. But I only remember kind of stood out because they were so different from what I'm, used to. And ESPN, up until recently, kind of had some that kind of veered one extreme direction or the other. And you could argue that there was some incentive or motivation because obviously ESPN is closely connected to Top Rank. So they're going to have their bias, and it's like anything else. It's all about exposure. So if you see something more often and you're promoting something by just the process of going through that, you're going to be more aware and be more knowledgeable and feel more comfortable putting a list together, including them. Now, speaking of putting a list together, and we built it up way too much, that's just how we do it. Hopper, this is your show, your world, with us in it. You're the tree, I'm the decoration.
Oh, you're the white Christmas ball
Christmas lights.
You're wearing a white shirt.
Hey, at least me and them are like,
we're aligned.
I'm the red. So for the contrast.
Who is gonna kick us off with the list and get their the banter going?
Who wants to go? Who wants to take the baton first? Who wants to lead us off?
I think Manny wants to go, or he wants me to go.
I think he's excited. I'm curious to see what Manny has. Go ahead, Manny.
Put me on the freaking spot.
Go ahead, Manny.
All right, I'll take it.
Man,
why not?
Manny.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before, don't mind me. It's my fucking list, and I do what I want.
That's
right.
Yes,
I'm going to explain a little bit why do I think that, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to disrespect you or anyone. What I'm going to tell you, my criteria, you have to have a boxing skills, right? But how do you know if you don't compete against other skill boxers and what you've done in your division? And, of course, accolades, accomplishments. What have you accomplished? That's the main weight within my list. Now I'm going to start with my 10. My 10. This guy actually just made my list. He became the undisputed 135-pound lightweight champion of the world. That is Devin Haney. Listen, he's got some skills. He finally made the top 10 in my list, and that's okay. He's undisputed, but he's got to be tested. And I guarantee you, man, if he starts fighting higher opposition to the 135, and there's plenty of them, I'm not going to be here talking about who he needs to fight, but he needs to fight at least the top 4 more of those guys who we think they are the best in 135. And clearly, we never talked about Haney being the best, and we all know that. So Number 9, definitely, I'm not biased nor I'm subjective on this one. Lomachenko, we know what he's done. We know what he has accomplished in a short amount of time in his career. We know the reputation, and we know that he can actually box. He can freaking box. He showed him to us, and I think he has a legitimate chance to become a world champion once again. Vasily Lomachenko, peace out, peace to Ukraine in that freaking war, man. And, we love what you're doing with the passion you have for your country. That will be number 9. Number 8, my goodness, this guy is going to climb my list and everyone's list very, very soon. Ladies and gentlemen, he just became unified. Well, he was unified, but he got another belt. That was the The WBC was the belt that he just got.
Right. You must be talking about
Berder BB. Was it WC he got, or was it WB?
It was the WBC, I think.
WBC, right. Berderby, he became unified, light heavyweight champion of the world. The way he did that and the way he beat Joe Smith, with Joe Smith, arguably, he was going to be supposedly one of the guys that was going to give a lot of problems up there. And all he got one more belt, and that would be EnVivo. Is that going to happen? And everyone knows that Berderby's got the power, right? And he still doesn't show his age. So do you think Berderby starts slow? I don't think so, right? He changed his game plan, and that's why he's going to climb real soon up there. The next one in my list, he's a fan favorite. I got to put him in my list.
What number is that?
Berderby's number 8. Okay. 8, Berderby. Okay. Number 7, guys, I think he is, in my eyes, I do not think he can be beat. He cannot be beat at the heavyweight divisions. And I think that's why I put him in number 7. That is Tyson Fury. Electrifying heavyweight, super heavyweight, tall. Just out of this world with his jab and his quirky style. And I just don't think right now in this era, not even Usyk, not even Anthony Joshua, who are, Usyk is actually the unified champ right now, but there's a rematch going on to happen. And even if Anthony Joshua wins, I just don't think he can beat Tyson Fury for that. And his accomplishments, definitely. He's got good skills, though, too. Get that away. Number 6, ladies and gentlemen, number 6. This is going to be the future number 1 pound for pound. I tell you that, and I guarantee you. He's very young in age, and he's got a lot in front of him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Shakur Stevenson, 2-division world champion right now. Beat the best 130-pounder. No questions asked. And his style and everything he brings, the excitement he brings inside the ring, that is Shakur Stevenson. I would love Haney to adapt Shakur Stevenson's style and aggressiveness. And I guarantee you, those two crazy maniacs, if that happens, it's going to be crazy if Haney becomes almost what Shakur it is right now. But all the credit to Shakur, number 6 in my list. Number 7,
fight each
number
other.
6. Yeah.
I think so.
And I love that. So I would love to see Haney develop himself.
Super fight.
Oh my God! Can you imagine an undisputed 135 Shakur?
Goodness.
Woo! Can't wait. And of course,
it's not unrealistic. Shakur's a big boy.
Yeah, and he'll go up soon. I don't know what else he's got left.
Two
But
challenges. Joe Cordina. And
but
Roger
there's no real threat to him at this time.
No,
and I think he'll get more bigger fights at 135
than 130.
Even with Lomachenko top ranks. Just keep in mind, top ranks.
He got the biggest fight already in 130 pounds. Valdez.
What else can you get?
There's no other bigger guy out there.
That's it.
That's
All right. Moving on to my list, number 5. He was the cruiserweight undisputed champion of the world. And right now he is unified. He beat the Tower. He beat the Mountain. He beat the guy that no one thought he was going to be beat by, Usyk. And that is my number 5, beating Anthony Joshua. I think he's accomplished a lot of things, and I don't think he's done. And I truly believe it. When he beat AJ, the first time he said, "You haven't seen the real Usyk yet." That got me pretty scared. I'm telling you, I'm not. It's not that I'm just buying the whatever he was saying or trying to be too bullish on this. I've always loved Usyk. I was rooting for him with AJ, but I never thought he was going to beat him the way he did. And my goodness, watch this, because he's going to also escalate soon, maybe, in the next fight or not. Number 4. This is the huge debate, man, because top 5 and maybe top 4, a lot of people are looking forward to certain guys. And I'm putting this guy on number 4 because, yes, he was undisputed in one division. He hasn't fought the people that we want him to fight. He's a very skilled boxer. He's powerful. He's mean. He's a tough son of a gun, guys, but I need to feel more. I want to see more. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Bud Crawford. He is in my number 4. Another guy that if we see him fighting Spence, he can actually elevate immediately into the number 1. And I get it. ESPN's got a number 1. Every list that I see out there, they have Bud Crawford number 1. I just don't know. They call me blind. They call me stupid, ignorant. I don't know. I just don't see it. If you see it, congratulations. That's great. But let me tell you something. My number 3 is Errol Spence Jr. If these guys finally get together and get that undisputed status on the 147, the winner will climb to 1 or 2 in every list. And if it's Crawford, he will solidify himself as the number 1 in all of you guys that they do have Bud Crawford number 1. So I'm not bashing you. I just don't see it that way. Number 4, Crawford. Number 3, Spence. Come on, Spence. He's got more than 1 belt at the 147. He's fought great opposition. He's still doing it again. Yes, he fought, Ugas, but people were thinking that Ugas was going to beat him at one point. And you know what? He beat him on his own game with jabbing, a guy that had more reach, and he actually completely dominated him to the point they had to stop the fight. That's what Errol Spence brings into the table, even after that devastating accident. Number 2, I love this one. And I know you guys can see what it is.
Kind of.
I love him. He's just the mini, I would say the mini Pacquiao with a combination of Mike Tyson punching power. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a 3-division world champion. Have dominated, from the bantamweights even to the, junior bantamweights and, and flyweights. And then, right now he displayed the biggest rematch in boxing history and taking down the guy that almost beat him in Nonito Donaire. Ladies and gentlemen, El Monstruo, y no une. Well-deserved my 2 spot. Every time I talk about it, I get really excited and happy. And this is a guy that also will be a pound for pound champion. He's done it in 3 divisions. I think he can probably go up in 122 pounds and actually go back again and be possibly undisputed again in 122. Can he finish his career in 126? I don't know. I mean, he's a small kid. Who knows? But the older you get, the tougher it will be for him to continue to make the weight. And that will be another division. Guys, he's going to follow most likely Pacquiao's footstep. And it's just amazing to see him and amazing to see Japan having a true king, especially when it comes to 3-division champion and also being considered top, at least 5, in everyone's list. Número 1.
Here we go.
Número 1.
I'm ready.
And I'm not doing it because I feel like people think I'm a hater. I'm not doing it because people think that I never acknowledge his accomplishment. But ladies and gentlemen, I truly feel he is my number 1. That is El Chingón, Saúl Canelo Álvarez.
I would have never guessed
what he did, and you talk about this a lot. You talk a lot about this. He accomplished something. He beat undefeated champions one at a time. He captured an undisputed belt, went up 175, got a belt, came down, did the rest, went back again, and took the cojones to fight in another 175. Young, talented individual. He got beat. I don't think he got anything to do up there, but let me tell you something. The next fight is Triple G. He can easily beat Triple G. And then after that,
in your face, Gringo.
What's next? Man. Ladies and gentlemen, 168, 160. I don't know. The Charlo, who knows? Who's next? Boo Andrade? I don't know. I think there's a lot of people out there, 160, 168. David Benavides. You know what? David Morrell. David Morrell. No one talks about David Morrell. Berlanga will be years away from that. Everyone will retire. But you know what? Even David Morrell, man, is a guy that people need to be looking at this kid in short amount of time. He can actually be someone up there. But right now, there's a lot of stuff Canelo could do at the 160, 168. And clearly, for me, and I'm not a hater, see, but I'm not a super, extremely fan. But I can give it up. Al César lo que es del César. Y al huevo al que los tiene Canelo. El cash cow, el favorito. He's going to fill out that freaking T-Mobile Arena on that trilogy. Amazing. That's my top 10, guys.
Wow.
Shocked you, didn't I?
Very shocking.
Told you.
Very shocking. Honestly,
that was unprecedented, unpredictable, and
I would have lost a lot of money.
Really?
Yep.
No, I was confident.
Top 9, you see, I don't have him there.
Yeah.
You think I had him 11?
I was like, all right, I guess he bumped him down to 13th or 14th.
No, I was thinking he didn't make the list.
Yeah, he didn't make the cut. Honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
I thought you would. Honestly, I thought you would have Berlanga number 1.
No, my number 1 honorable mention will be oh my God, Josh Taylor will be my 11 honorable mention. We'll see what happens with that. But that's my list. Who wants to be next?
Nice.
Who's next?
No, man,
that's a good list, bro. Very well explained and everything. You spent some time on it.
I sure did.
That's good, bro. That's good. I like it. What do you think, Gringo? Wow.
Let's just say that I'm ready to get to the real list. My turn, sir.
Oh, really?
Okay, the real list.
Quick and to the point, right? So yeah, please don't judge me.
I'm judging. I'm already judging.
Oh yeah, he's already taking notes.
I'm fixing a post on Twitter. Everybody, look at this guy. Look at this guy's list.
Prepare to be disappointed. All right, so I'm gonna go real quick. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. All right, so number 10, and let me put the logic out there real quick. So I did combine skill, accomplishments, and I went old school backyard barbecue rules. Basically, can this guy beat this guy's ass, and who can beat this guy's ass in this division? So case in point, number 10, Chocolatito Roman Gonzalez.
Okay.
Nobody at 115 can beat him. Sorry, Bam. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so 115 is Chocolatito's division.
I feel bad.
It's his world. Y'all are just in it. Number 9 is Devin Haney, recently crowned the undisputed champion. Very impressive. But with that being said, he got it through, not to say in the easy way. Obviously, he had a lot to overcome.
Wow,
at that point. But I'm saying he didn't.
Always with the backhanded compliments.
He didn't acquire each belt. He got one fight and got it. I mean, he still got it, but it wasn't like he beat champions. He didn't go the
Canelo way. The Canelo way. Fighting defeated champions.
Right. But again, Haney, shout out to you, brother.
Wow,
but I still would like to see more. Hopefully more entertaining. But shout out to him. Stephen Fulton, number 8.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Hear me out. 122. Other than Brandon Figueroa, who can beat this man, right? 122, he's the man. No, but honestly, I was so impressed.
MJ, they still got that fight to happen.
Undisputed.
Yeah. So versus Masvidal, who fights this weekend, so don't miss that. And I think that's a part of the reason why. I mean, he looks so impressive versus Roman.
Danny Roman.
Yeah, he looks so dominant. And even though I said I gave him the short end of the stick, so to speak, against when he fought, Brandon Figueroa, the heartbreaker. I do believe that, if they were to rematch and he fought his style, more of the way he fought, more of a boxer on the middle distance, outside using his jab, I think he would have won.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely would have won the fight. This is my opinion.
Okay. I mean, no.
All right. So
it's shocking. I never thought about it, especially with the controversy of Fulton and Figueroa. But that's really good because we know,
like I said,
you could beat him in a rematch if there is one. You know what I mean?
If 122, I mean, I think that he's the man. I mean, you can make an argument for Figueroa, but think about it. He's on the verge. Depending on Masvidal does what he's supposed to do against Rios this weekend, this Saturday in San Antonio. It's I believe he's going to go undisputed. So
what are you talking about? Marjan?
MJ.
Okay, yeah.
MJ, yeah. Jamal Charlo, number 7 at 154.
Jamal? Wow.
Jamel.
Okay. I knew who you meant.
Whoa. Man, people to stop listening to the show. Jamel. Everybody, the people's Charlo. Jamel Charlo at 154, undisputed.
The people's Charlo.
Yeah. So I love this guy. H-Town, he fights everybody. A lot of people give credit, and rightly so, because he talks a good game as far as David Benavidez, feeling like he's not necessarily the quote unquote, the guy who's protected. But if you actually look at it, Jermell Charlo is, as far as like the mold of a PBC fighter, Jermell Charlo wants all the smoke, and he's already got another fight against Tim Tszyu that's pretty much lined up. And there's, talk about that being in Australia. So hats off to him. He's a number 7. Number 6, this guy can't be beat at 175. I thought for a moment he could, after the impressive fight by Bivol, but King Arturo Beterbiev is the man. I mean, he's just unbelievable, just walking destruction force. Number 5, Shakur Stevenson at 130. I don't think anybody can beat him. In fact, I know they can't. Just a formality for him to be undisputed. I do feel like it's a formality for the record, all of these guys to be undisputed. So let me put that out there as well. Undisputed era is all what I'm about. Number 4, Canelo Alvarez. He did lose, but he went to chase greatness. 168. I don't care what anybody says. And yes, I'm a Triple G fan. Nobody beats Canelo Alvarez at 168. Say what you want, feel what you want. It's not going to happen unless Beterbiev moves down. Terrence Crawford, 147, number 3.
Good one.
Wow.
I like the little.
Yeah, I had to throw that in there. Terrence Crawford. The thing about
Terrence Crawford, number 3, over Canelo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Here's the thing: he hasn't fought a champion. He's become less and less active. In fact, I know he fought Porter, but shout out to Sean Porter, but he had like 1.5 foot out the door. Yep. Kenny Porter pulled him out the fight. I mean, and I'm not saying it. His most impressive win wasn't really that impressive. And the thing that's always bothered me and continuing to bother me about Terrence Crawford, and it's not about skill. I mean, other than his fans.
His fans, I was about to say.
Yeah, his fans are horrible. They're totally unrealistic.
I'm not that bad.
I mean, no, you're not.
But you're not a hardcore blinded.
Yeah, no.
That Crawford is the shit.
Hardcore Crawford
he's
fan.
Great, but he's not the shit.
Yeah, and there's we can talk to you, brother. There's a difference, man. Trust me. So
exactly. You'll be arguing with me right now, standing up, like, you know what I mean?
Crawford is the greatest.
Well, is he not number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, it's totally different thing. So I'm just talking about, for me, and even let's talk about that. Like, even the fight that everyone, quote unquote, the fight that everyone has to have, the fight against Spence, he manages to always fight people not in their prime. And it's another thing too that's kind of bothered me real quick. And that's kind of a weird, rant I'm going on a little quickly about a guy I have number 3. But
how much you hate him?
No, how much I'm frustrated by him.
I think you debated to have him 2 or 3, right? Is that why you didn't put him 2?
No. I feel great about 1 and 2.
Okay.
No,
Good.
I feel great about my list, honestly.
Okay, good.
Wow.
Good.
I'll put it online.
You seem confident. You look confident. Look at you.
No, I feel good. This is the best I felt like
You're excited.
2 minutes. No, I'm pretty excited. But no, and the thing about it is from the fan perspective, I want great fighters to go chase greatness. That's what we talked about and gave credit to, irregardless of how boring that fight was. Devin Haney chased greatness. Irregardless of how disappointing the results were for Canelo fans and his supporters, Canelo chased greatness. Not Jamal, the People's Charlo chased greatness. So that's huge to me. Terrence Crawford, he feels complicit and content with his career, and he's been more proactive about calling out Errol Spence, but let's again, he's managed to always fight people past their prime. They got Boots in it. They got Virgil Ortiz. These guys are up and, they're mandatories. They got other guys that are in 147. It's not just a wasteland that people try to pretend it is. Even if this quote unquote amazing fight were to happen, he's fighting Errol Spence at a disadvantage. He's past his prime because of the injury. So it's just what it is. So he's up there honestly because the accomplishment he had. He did unify 2 divisions, and then he could definitely shut me up if that fight, knock on wood, were to happen, and he comes undisputed in another division. That would be 3 divisions, and that would be extremely impressive with his skill set. But again, when I look at his career as a whole, I feel disappointment and I feel resentment because his fans are the worst. Number 2, Alexander Usyk. I mean, come on, man.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Wow. Yeah, you have him number 2.
I was hoping that you have him there, but I'm like 1 or 2. Shit. Okay.
Yeah. He's the man. Like, unbelievable boxer. And I think it kind of goes against the grain as far as most pound for pound lists, because a big part of the reason was people felt that, would Sugar Ray Robinson be able to beat Joe Louis if they were the same weight? That's where it came from. Right. So is that possibility? The thing that's so unique about it is Alexander Usyk is such a great boxer and fits a different mold, and he can beat you in so many different ways. And he's kind of bucking the trend. Granted, it's a unique situation in the environment in the era we're in of heavyweights because they're so ginormous. It's crazy. But he's a giant slayer, and I extremely admire his skill set, and I know that even retirement of Fury cannot stop the greatness of Alexander Usyk, and I would favor him in that fight. And I would put
against Fury?
Anything on that.
Against
Fury?
I am
that confident, sir. Again, I am drinking the Kool-Aid and serving up cups.
Damn it.
Number one, anyway, sir. At 118 down, no one beats that man, just point blank. He's unified 3 divisions, like my brother just said. He's amazing, poetry to watch. And just like Arturo the King Beterbiev, he's a wall of destruction. Like, he's must watch. Come on, man. You got half the world, all of hardcore boxing fans.
5 in the morning, bro.
Getting in early. What time did you get up, Manny? Like at 3 in the morning?
I got up 4:40 because I wanted to watch his brother and all the other fights that were interesting.
Yeah. So
his brother lost, but anyway.
So yeah, that's my list again. 10, Chocolatito. 9, Devin Haney. Fulton. Number 8, Jermell Charlo. Number 7, Arturo Beterbiev. Number 6, Shakur Stevenson. Number 5, Canelo Alvarez. Number 4, Terrence Crawford. Number 3, Alexander Usyk. Number 2, and number 1, anyway, is the man for me. And it could change tomorrow.
It could.
It could change in the next 10 minutes.
And I want to.
It could change as we're talking. Yeah, I hear Hopper's listening.
Hopper must have changed right now, but I just want to quickly, before we go to Hopper, I want to clarify something. A lot of people were thinking, "What the fuck, man?
Are you getting blown up on Twitter?"
No. Most likely, but once it goes out, you'll see it. But there's a lot of reasons why I don't have Charlo. And I was debating Jermell, 10 Haney or Charlo. For some reason, at the time that I was doing that, although I love Tony Harrison's both fights, I loved Brian Castano both fights. They're great fighters, but I just think that the light middleweight, it's one of the weakest division after 147, and then compared to 160 and 168. So for me, yes, they're great fighters, but I haven't. Although he fights everyone, I haven't seen him with someone that is a huge threat within the 154. However, yes. That could definitely change in any moment and bring him back in. I just wanted to clarify that. Don't think that I need.
You're feeling defensive about your list.
I'm not. I just want to clarify because I know it's coming, and I just don't want to talk about it again. Hear our show, and you'll hear my explanation why Charlo wasn't in my top 10.
Okay, I may have to do that with someone as well too. I think we all have maybe a few fighters that didn't make it. There's just so many good guys out there. Somebody's not gonna make the cut.
And that's the thing.
I left off a guy that you guys are gonna be like, "Wow, you left him off." Yeah, and I'll be like Manny right now, explaining. Well, look, this is what I watch.
No, so your explanation, Manny, like I don't necessarily agree of him not being there, but honestly, when I initially heard that, but when you explained it, it made perfect sense.
There you go.
You feel like it's a tougher division. I can't argue with that. I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and
exactly
it is what it is. So Hopper, man, let's do it.
Woo!
It's his top 10.
All right. It's time for the real.
Baby.
Time for the real. Long live boxing.
Ours were pretend, Manny. I didn't know
these guys.
I know, right? Ours sucked. They're the real one. It's his show, so
they were cute. They were cute.
Bring it. 10.
Number 10. Welcome to the pound for pound realm, King Arthur.
Oh,
obliterated champion Joe Smith in 2 rounds. Very scary punch selection. Power like no other. And I'll go ahead and make a prediction. I'll go ahead and make the prediction. Gringo, clip it.
I'm ready.
He beats Bivol if the fight ever happens.
Ooh, I agree.
Yep, he beats Bivol if the fight ever happens. I mean,
you didn't even blink. Like you're not trolling.
Nope. Beterbiev is scary. You make one mistake against him and it's done. It's a wrap. You have to fight a perfect fight against this guy.
Yep.
His punch selection, his uncanny ability to see your mistakes and capitalize on it like a snake. And then the power that he carries in each hand. Dude.
No, that's a great point. Dude, since we're talking about him and he did make all of our lists, and I think, do you think he gets enough credit for his skills?
Nah.
People just look at the unbelievable power.
They just look at the power, but they don't see the skills and that demoralizes opponents. I mean, when you can't hit him once, and then when you mess up, like with Joe Smith, he threw the right while his hand was still down. He was trying to. I mean, dude, that's common mistake, and Peter Reeve capitalized on it right there. Hit him with the right on the temple and dropped him.
Yeah, he does have that devastating power. And actually, somebody said something. Shout out to him, man. Our man D Style. It initially shocked me when I heard it. He had it on one of my favorite shows that we've been on, Aftermath. Check it out on Mondays on D Style's channel. He said, and I quote, "That was probably the last time we see Joe Smith. He has that retirement power."
Wow, Gringo Jr., is that you?
Woo! He's retiring people.
Hey, yo!
Wow.
Well, to your point, Hopper, I think he has gone through a lot of adversity. And the fight, who was it, Danis or Marcus Brownie, where he suffered a huge cut.
Marcus Brown.
Yeah, Marcus Brown.
He suffered a huge cut in front of him. Something really, really nasty.
I think that made him even more mad.
Do you see what I'm saying?
That
So he has
him
gone
off.
through
He's
a
like
lot
an
of
android,
adversity.
bro.
And then what Hopper just mentioned, I think definitely what else he's going to overcome coming up with the EnVivo.
Yeah. Number 9, Devin Haney. Devin the Dream Haney, undisputed champion.
I thought he'd be higher on your list.
No. I got to put him there because, like you mentioned earlier, Gringo, he did happen to just get out the belts with one fight. It's not like he went through undefeated champions or went through champions for each single belt.
Right.
He managed to take advantage of the opportunity presented to him, and he took full advantage of it. And by that, just being undisputed in the division, hey, welcome to Hopper's pound for pound list, number 9.
Welcome, buddy.
All right.
Welcome.
Numero 8, number 8, Shakur Stevenson.
Hey, I like this list.
Yeah, the silver Olympic medalist has went on to have a stellar start of his career, became a champion at the feather division by defeating Joel Gonzalez, just recently defeated my boy Oscar Valdez. He has the other champions, Roger Gutierrez and Joe Cordina, like we mentioned earlier. They don't necessarily move the needle, but he needs them to become undisputed. The bigger challenges await at 135 pounds. So I think we'll see Shakur Stevenson at 135 pounds a lot sooner than later. And hopefully a lot more exciting fights. Definitely. Number 7. I didn't hear you guys mention this guy.
Let's see.
But I will. El Gallo Estrada, number 7, Juan Estrada. His resume commands him to be on. Wow. Okay, I mean that's part of the consideration, I guess.
That's his criteria.
No, but his resume commands him. Just considering his resume, man. The people that he's fought, he's lost to who? To the Rat King and Chocolatito, and then a loss early on in his career. But Juan Francisco Estrada, I mean, he's 42-3, fighting the best guys, Carlos Cuadras, the Rat King, Chocolatito in that division. Come on, he's proven his mettle time and again, and we'll see what happens if he fights Chocolatito again. So, number 6.
I hope so.
Number 6. We all have this guy on the list, and Gringo. I don't know if Gringo loves him or hates him, but Terrence Bud Crawford. I have him 6th.
Okay.
All right. And mainly for his accomplishments at 140 pounds when he became undisputed. His campaign at the welterweight division has been less than desirable.
Man.
We have, and it kind of out of sight, out of mind, not necessarily fighting the best guys. But like Manny mentioned, and I agree with him 100%, this can change in his next fight. Instantly. Instantly. He can catapult to the top of the list in his next fight. Number 5, Jermell Charlo.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Little Charlo. Man, I love me some Jermell Charlo, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel that Jermell genuinely wants all the smoke. I mean, he fights. He wants to fight everybody. Now he's lined up to fight Tim Tszyu. He fought Castano. He didn't have to give him the rematch, but he wanted to prove to the people that he could beat him, and he did. Tony Harrison, he lost, came back and won. I mean, Jermell Charlo, man, if you followed him early on in his career, he was always much tougher than Jermell Charlo.
Yeah.
Jermell is the guy that wants all the smoke. I mean, I don't even care if he dissed me at a boxing fight one time, So what?
Yeah,
he's still on my pound for pound list, number 5.
Well, I took him away because of that.
he got some negative points because of that.
Right.
Number 4, our boy from Dallas, Earl Spence Jr. Unified welterweight champion, dominated Dennis Ugas in his last fight. Only one belt left. There's a super fight, a super fight. I'm sorry, Eddie Hearn. I disagree with you. And even if Canelo is my boy, Earl Spence versus Terrence Crawford is 100 times bigger than Canelo versus Triple G3. I mean, that's not necessarily a fight anybody's asking for. People are asking for Spence versus Crawford. People are freaking begging for that fight. So I'm sorry, Eddie Hearn.
Mm-hmm.
Props to you for being a promoter, but I disagree with you. Number 3, Tyson Fury. Come on, man. Let's get this guy some respect. His trilogy with Wilder is a beauty for boxing fans. And in my opinion, I think he won all 3. I mean, he beat Vladimir Klitschko, just recently knocked out Dillian White, entertaining in the ring, charismatic out of the ring. I mean, he's perfect for boxing. He's good. He's undefeated. To be undefeated in the heavyweight division is an accomplishment in and of itself. So he's still undefeated.
He's still. I mean, he's saying retired, but I think that undisputed thing it's in the back of his mind, and that's Mm-hmm. Undisputed.
Number 2.
Hear, Sean?
Number 2. Mira, boss.
Mira, ¿quién?
Este es uno de mis gallos mexicanos.
Híjole, chingao.
Ya sabes, you know.
Sí, number 2.
He lost his last fight.
Okay.
But I'm not going to give him too many major negative points for daring to be great. You know, he was stuck in an no-win situation. If he beats Bivol, everybody would have said, the casual would have said, who? You know, they would have said, who? So since he lost, I mean, he's never going to get the credit that he deserves anyway. So I just feel like other boxers should take note. He fought undefeated champions, moved up to try to fight another undefeated champion in a higher division, in a division that he doesn't belong. And he lost, and that's Canelo Alvarez, number 2. I have him number 2. There's really not much I need to explain about this guy. I'm kind of, somewhat, a little bit of a fan. I root for him a little bit. So that's my number 2.
A little bit.
Sarcastic. Number 1, Gringo. You had him number 2.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I have him number 1.
I had him number 2 too.
El
Monstro.
No, he had him. He had this guy too. I have him 1. Alexander Usyk.
Usyk. Okay, so you know Monster.
I have him number 1. That's right. I left Monster on my list.
Okay.
So
damn.
Number 1, Usyk. Come on, man. Give this man his flowers. His skill level, and I'm talking about as a technician, pure boxing ability. It goes toe to toe against anyone in any division. It matter the weight. Usyk is a pure boxer. The king of the cruiserweights in this era, unified all the belts, won the WBSS tournament, went up to heavyweight. He didn't look so good early on, but then put a slacking on Anthony Joshua, gave him a boxing lesson. Became unified heavyweight champ. The rematch with AJ will happen later this year. After that, it's only Tyson Fury's belt left. And I think sometimes as boxing fans, people just take everything for granted. Like, oh, he did this, he did that, he did that, whatever.
Right.
Just, I mean, like with Canelo. But Usyk has done a lot for the sport. He's earned his stripes, and you know, I'm rooting for him against AJ, just because of what's going on in his country and so on and so forth. You know, hopefully brings, you know, gives his people something more to cheer about. But Alexander Usyk is my number 1 boxer just because of his pure technical ability and what he's accomplished. I mean, that's the perfect candidate for number 1, in my opinion.
Man, and your opinion counts, brother. That was a hell of a list, and great stuff. I like the fact that we had such different lists. We all had different number 1s.
Yeah.
I think that said something. And there was some prizes. I had people you didn't have, and vice versa across the board. So great stuff. And touching on this, because my brother mentioned this earlier, and I definitely agree with it. Like, so these are all up to you know, the debate is on you. Like, what do you feel? What do you prefer? What do you like? And what do you appreciate? I know some people have put lists together completely on skills or completely off accomplishments. You know, I kind of tried to do a blend, you know, whatever you feel, it's your list and it's up to you. Now, what I will say as far as lists go, the new trend now, which, and, you know, again, let me just first say, I love the ladies, and we have a great run of female fights. Female boxing is on fire right now. We had an unbelievable fight in the Garden between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano, and I loved it. They're never going to fight again, but it was a hell of a fight.
So Katie Taylor's your number 1?
No, not quite. But just real quick is like I've seen this thing as far as like unisex top 10.
Is it disrespectful to the men?
I think it's kind of disrespectful on both parts, because for one, to me, female boxing, again, this is just my opinion. It's almost like a different sport. And it's not just because obviously you have female men, compatriots, fighting against one another, but the less rounds, the rounds are shorter. And then also let's just go as far as the divisions, there's less competition in the divisions. At the most, a female division may go 50, maybe 100 in some of the divisions, but overall, it's going to be way less compared to like the men where you have like, registered in Boxing Rec close to 1,500. So it's just really not fair to compare. Now, if you want to just acknowledge skill and just like, phenomenal skill and you want to, hey, this fighter's unbelievably skilled. Mm-hmm. But going back to the original intent of the list, what was it for? Could Sugar Ray Robinson beat Joe Louis in a fight, right? If they were the same weight, if they were the same size. Mm-hmm. To me, there's no scenario where you would have a female boxer versus a male boxer. Just no point, not for me. So, hey, I get what a lot of these individuals are doing and putting these lists together, and they definitely catch your attention for sure. But for me, that's a no-go. I'm definitely not really clear on where they're kind of going with it. And then that's another thing too. I wouldn't want to put one together because then I would look like some kind of crazy hater. Case in point, that's what, it's the NBA draft tonight, right?
Yep.
Do you think that an NBA fan, I know it's a different sport, but I'll go really quickly, would they do a top 10
Candace
NBA
Parker, number one.
And WNBA? It's not the same playing field,
Sue
right?
Bird,
so
number 8.
Why would boxing fans feel the need to do this?
Diana Taurasi over Luca.
But hey,
like here's the thing. Here's the thing about it, Gringo. And I love what you're saying, brother. And I agree with you. I think this is just one of those things where people try to get cute and do the political pandering thing with involving women. But no, you have to separate these things because women have their own pound for pound. Men
Correct.
have their own pound for pound. You don't combine them. No, it doesn't make sense. I mean, how can you even compare what and no disrespect to what women, they're great in their own sport.
Exactly.
Not at all.
But the competition level in the men's division is just tidal wave overall. Everything in the women's division, it's just there are dogs in every division. Is just harder. It's a whole
by
different
default,
world.
the man can definitely may punch harder, may have more strength than women, right? And although there are stronger women out there, I feel the same way. You got to really separate this.
And
I mean, there was one called Clarissa Shield. She came up and said, remember when she said that she wanted to beat Bud Crawford?
She'll fight somebody.
I mean, it's easy to say when you talk about it, but to really do it and get on the ring with some of these,
and that's the thing about these pound for pound lists. It's just that what if these two people were in the same weight? What if they were the same weight? Okay, so what if Clarissa Shields, and Errol Spence were in the same weight? Who are you going to pick in that fight? It's dumb. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't make.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Regardless of pounds, like, oh, okay, what if Tyson Fury and Clarissa Shields were like in the same weight? Or just you get what I'm saying? It doesn't.
No, completely. And then like to me, I'll just put it out there. Like my engagement, I'll be trying to become more astute to female boxing and appreciate them more. And like I said, right now they're on a good run, but realistically, it's not even comparable. I mean, I've been watching boxing, dating myself since the 80s. I've only been watching female boxing a little bit. I watched The Farmer's Daughter, as far as like when she was on undercards of, Mike Tyson, but I wasn't like deep into it. I would obviously watch Anna Wolf's fight, but outside of that, and then honestly, there hasn't been much improvement as far as the quality of depth, so let's say I did a unisex top 10, it would be all men,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the female divisions that well. I'm not going to pretend. If anything,
wow.
I would say like I'm trying to learn them better.
What a
But I would say the depth of my knowledge is pretty shallow. I would say like the last 2 years, I've definitely gotten better and have a better appreciation, and I see the skills. But combining a list together, I can't do it. If you can do it, hey, props to you, but it's definitely not for me. So I just wanted to send that shout out on that real quick. But man, good stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, also as well is because there's only a handful. There's a handful of women out there in women boxing.
They're even worthy of considering.
They're lacking in. I'm not saying talent, but there's just not a lot. Lately, we've seen a little bit more, and I feel like these guys want to lift up women boxing, which is great. You know, right now, if you think about it, the only fight women boxing people want to watch is the rematch between Serrano and Katie Taylor. And right now, they're not going to be fighting for the moment, but all of a sudden, you have Amanda, which
Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall is another fight that's
a good one. And you have Michaela Mayer versus
versus
so there's about 4 good handfuls of fights that you want to see. Very few though.
And then you go to the men's. Man,
there's a lot of
so many fights.
Like right now, okay, we just witnessed one of the best fights in female history and actually topped a lot of the male fights, which is, Serrano, Amanda, and Katie Taylor, right? But right now, if you think about it, the next fight of Amanda will be Brenda Carvajal.
Who?
Brenda. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I think.
And so if you think about it, I'm not saying anything bad about Brenda or anything like that, but I'm saying she's a great boxer, Argentinian, with a record of 18-5 losses. And that's actually the best it can do if Amanda wants to go down back again and defend her featherweight titles. Do you see what I'm saying? The level of Amanda should be another fight, if not the rematch, something even better. But there's the competition level. They thought about bringing in Jamila Mercado, which she'd already fought. Both of them fought good fights against Katie Taylor and Serrano. So anyway, there's really, really a big hole into the women's boxing, and I get someone trying to lift it up a little bit and adding the competition level within the women's side into the men. But really, I just don't feel right now that's the right time to do it. Measure women against women, men against men. I'm not saying they're different in any way, shape, or form, but when it comes to this sport, yeah, there's an advantage, and we just got to be really, really realistic about those things.
Yeah, and again, you're doing a disservice because, all you're going to do is draw attention and people are going to question, how is this person over? But, again, it's your list. It's pound for pound. It's however you want to do it. It's boxing. It's the good, bad, and different that we love and appreciate so much. So my brother Hopper had this great idea for the show. So we'll close things out. What you want to say, brother?
Look, man, I love your guys' list. Manny, I'm shocked you're number one. Gringo, I'm shocked you had Fulton in there, which but hey, and I'm shocked you had Crawford that high, considering I sometimes think you hate him.
I know, right?
But then
talks a lot about him.
Think you love him, so I don't know. I'm confused.
I'm torn.
That's the definition of check the mark if it's complicated. That's between you and Crawford.
Yeah, exactly.
So great list, guys. We'll put these out there. I'm sure Gringo will get down on his editing skills and throw all these lists out there so everybody can see and laugh at us, make fun of us, agree with us. Talk shit about it. Hey, that's what these pound for pound lists are for, man. They're subjective. We'll appreciate any feedback, negative or positive. Great stuff, guys.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
111 is done. In the backseat, in the pocket.
Fuera.
Vamos. Vivo.
Hey,
Adios.